Okay, guys, so today we're going to take some notes on systems of equations, but in word problems. So this is going to be separate and not in your journal. So make sure you have this paper and that you are with me. We're going to follow along and do these together, and then you will be working some by yourself. So the sum of two numbers, and I apologize, that's supposed to be is 20. The difference between 3 times the first number and twice the second number is 40. Find the two numbers. The first thing you need to do on all word problems is label stuff. When we're talking about systems of equations, you're going to have two letters. So we're going to have x and y. I'm going to call x the first number, and I'm going to call y the second number. Now I'm going to go back and read my problems. The sum of two numbers, so sum is important because that means we're adding, and two numbers is 20. So that means I'm going to take my x and add my y, and I'm going to get a total of 20. Okay, the difference, which now means I'm subtracting, between 3 times the first number and twice the second number is 40. So now I'm subtracting, and we're going to do 3 times the first number, and the first number is x, minus twice the second number, and the second number is y, and that equals 40. Now I'm just going to figure out if I want to do substitution, elimination, or graphing to solve this. Excuse me. And I'm going to do elimination because everything's lined up. The only thing I'm going to have to do to get this to eliminate is I need to multiply this top equation by 2. Because if you look, my y is already a negative 2, so I'm just going to make this one a positive 2. Okay, when I do that, I get 2x plus 2y equals 40. 2x, 2y, 40. My other equation, I'm just going to leave alone, and I get the same equation, and now I just add. 2x plus 3x is 5x. My y's cancel, and 40 plus 40 is 80. So I'm going to divide 80 by 5, and I get x equals... Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I get x equals 16. Okay, now once you have x equals 16, you're going to take this 16 and plug it back into one of your original equations. And I'm going to go with the top one. So I'm going to do 16 plus y equals 20. And I'm going to subtract my 16, and I get y equals 4. Now, I am going to check my answers. I'm going to just plug in the two values I got. So I'm going to do 16 is x, so 16 plus 4, and that gives me 20. And then I'm going to do 3 times 16 minus 2 times 4, and I should get 40, which I do, so my answer is right. So it says find the two numbers. Okay, so the first number is 16, and the second number is 4, and there's your answer. Okay, example 2. The cost of 12 oranges and 7 apples is $5.36. 8 oranges and 5 apples cost $3.68. Find the cost of each. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down, I'm talking about oranges, so I'm going to call them O. If you don't like O, use X's. And we're talking about apples, so I'm going to use A. Now, the first sentence, they give me 12 oranges and 7 apples is that total. So since we're talking about buying those at one time, they stay together. So we're going to do 12O plus 7A equals 536. Okay, my second sentence says 8 oranges and 5 apples cost that much. So I'm going to do 8O plus 5A equals 368. Excuse me. So now what you have to do is you can set this up for substitution, elimination, or graphing. Personally, me, I think elimination is going to be easier because I have O above O, A above A, and answer above answer. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out my multiples that 12 and 8 share. And the first multiple that I can think of that they share is 24. And then 7 and 5, the first multiple that they share would be 35. Well, 24 is a little bit easier to go to, so I'm going to multiply this top one by 2. And when I multiply by 2, I get 24O plus 14A, and it equals, so 5 36 times 2 would be 1072. Okay, now that means I've got to multiply this bottom equation to get 8 to be a 24. I want it to actually be a negative 24, so I'm going to multiply by negative 3. Negative 3 times 8o would be negative 24o. Negative 3 times 5a would be negative 15a. And negative 3 times 368 is negative 1104. Okay, now I'm ready to add. My O's cancel and I get negative 1a equals, and 1072 plus negative 11.04 is going to be negative 0.32, negative 32 cents. So now I just divide by a negative 1, and when you divide by negative 1, you just get the opposite sign. So apples are 32 cents. To figure out how much an orange is going to be, I'm actually going to go ahead and write this. Apples equal 32 cents. Okay, to figure out how much an orange is going to be, I have to go back in and I'm going to plug this in. And I'm going to actually use the bottom equation, smaller numbers. So we're going to do 8o plus 5 times 0.32 equals 368. Okay, well, 5 times 0.32 is 1.6. So now I have 8o plus 1.6 equals 3.68. I'm going to subtract the 1.6 and I get 8o equals 208. Then I'm going to divide by 8. And I get that oranges are 26 cents. Okay, I'm going to bring that over here and put that oranges are 26 cents. And then I'm just going to take my two things and plug them back in to make sure that they work. So I'm going to do 12 times 0.26, close my parentheses, plus 7 times 0.36. And I better get 536. And I got 564. Oh, because it's not 36, it's 32. My fault. Change that to 32, and I get 536. Okay, now I'm going to do 8 times 0.26 for oranges, plus 5 times 0.32 for apples, and I should get 368, and I did, so my answer is correct. Okay, next problem. Gabby and Sydney bought some pens and pencils. Gabby bought 4 pens and 5 pencils for $6.71. Sydney bought 5 pens and 3 pencils for $7.12. Find the cost of each. Okay, again, we're talking about pens and pencils. Since they have the same letter, I'm going to go with X and Y this time. And I'm going to call X pens and Y pencils because I can't put P and P. It wouldn't make a difference. Okay, I'm going to work with Gabby first. Gabby had 4 pens and 5 pencils, and it cost $6.71. And now I'm going to do Sydney. Sydney has 5 pens and 3 pencils, and it costs $7.12. Okay, again, this one happens to be set up for elimination. So I'm going to, my first multiples of 4 and 5 are 20, and 5 and 3 would be 15. I'm going to 15. So I'm going to multiply this top one by 3, and that gives me 12x plus 15y equals 2013. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply this bottom one. Since I want a 15, I'm going to multiply by negative 5. And that gives me negative 25x, negative 15y, and negative 35.6. Okay, from here I'm going to add negative 12, sorry, not negative 12. 12 plus negative 25 is negative 13x. My y's cancel, and 2013 plus negative 35.6 would be negative 15.47. Now I just need to divide by negative 13. And I get that x is $1.19. So they're telling me that pens, I don't want to put x, I want to put pens equals $1.19. Now you have to figure out how much a pen costs. So a pencil. So to find a pencil, I'm going to plug it back into my top equation, and I'm going to do 4 times 1.19 plus 5y equals 671. Well, 4 times $1.19 is $4.76. Okay, now you must subtract the $4.76. We get 5y equals $1.95. We're going to divide by 5. And y equals 39 cents. So pencils are 39 cents. Now I'm going to just grab my calculator and check this with my original equation. So we're going to do 4 times 1.19 plus 5 times 0.39. And we should get 671. Then I'm going to do 5 times 1.19 plus 3 times 0.39. And I should get 712, which I do. So therefore, that is my answer. Moving on to the next example, the town recreation department ordered a total of 100 baseballs and bats for the summer baseball camp. Baseballs cost $4.50 each, and bats cost $20 each. The total purchase was $822. How many of each item was ordered? Okay, well, we are talking about baseballs and bats. I can't use B and B, so I'm going to go back to my X and my Y. X is going to be baseballs. B is going to be bats. Okay, the first thing that I know is that I ordered a total of that. So I have to do X plus Y equals 100. I ordered 100 of both. I know that a baseball costs $4.50, so I'm going to do 450X. And I know that a bat costs 20, so plus 20Y. And it was a total of $822. So from here, this is again set up for elimination. Everything's lined up. I'm going to just multiply the top equation. And I don't really want to complicate decimals, so I'm actually going to change my y by multiplying my y by a negative 20. Okay, so when I do that, I'm going to get negative 20x minus 20y equals, and 100 times negative 20 would be negative 2,000. And I'm going to keep the 450x plus 20y equals 822. Now I'm ready to add, and when I add, my y's will cancel. So negative 20 plus 450 would be negative 15.5x, and negative 2,000 plus 822 would be, excuse me, negative 1,178. Now we just divide by negative 15.5. And we're going to get x equals 76. Okay, I'm going to plug the 76 back into that original top equation. So I'm going to do 76 plus y equals 100. We're going to subtract 76, and you should get that y is 24. Okay, now I'm going to plug these in and check them. So I'm going to do 76 plus 24 and make sure I get 100, which I did. And I'm going to do 450 times 24 plus 20 times, no, I typed this in wrong. My bad. I'm going to do 450 times 76, because I got to plug in x, not y, plus 20 times 24, and I should get 822, which I did. So I'm going to write my answers. I have 76 baseballs and 24 bats. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick and get a drink. Okay, so I'm actually going to skip these two right here because they're very similar to this town recreational one. So we're just going to go down to this last problem. So Rob has $1.65 in nickels and dimes. He has 25 coins in all. How many of each coin are there? Okay, so first thing we have to do is label what we have. We're talking about nickels and dimes. So I'm going to use N and D. N for nickels and D for dimes. And before I go through and write more equations like how we did on the other ones, I want y'all to tell me the face value of a nickel and a dime. Anytime you talk about money like that, you need to write what they are. So a nickel is 0.05 cents and a dime is 0.10 cents. So you probably would want to write that out. So now, since we're talking about Rob having $1.65 in nickels and dimes, and he has a total of 25 coins, you're just going to take your nickels plus your dimes and set that equal to 25 because there should be 25 altogether. Now, when you're talking about money, you have to keep money with money. So I know that a nickel is worth 5 cents and that a dime is worth 10 cents and that the total value is $1.65. So all three of those things go in the equation together. Now, once again, this is set up for elimination. So I am going to eliminate. I'm going to multiply this top equation. And you can do by 0.05 or 0.10, whatever you want to do. It's going to work the same way. They just have to be a negative. I'm going to go with negative 0.05. So I get negative 0.05n minus 0.05d equals 125. Then I'm just going to bring over my other equation, 0.05n plus 0.10d equals 165. This is negative 1. I'm sorry. Hang on, I'll pause and finish in just a second. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Let me finish really quick. Again, make sure that you made this 1.25 negative. I forgot to write my negative sign. Okay, now that I have that, I'm just going to add. My ends will cancel, and I'm going to get 0.05d equals 0.04. 0.4, not 04. 0.4. And then I have to divide by 0.05. So 0.4 divided by 0.05. And I should get that I have 8 dimes. Okay, to figure out how many nickels I have, I'm going to go back to the original equation. And we're going to do n plus 8 equals 25. I'm going to subtract 8, and n should be 17. Okay, check and make sure. We're going to do 17 plus 8, and see we get 25. And then we're going to do 0.05 times 17 plus 0.10 times 8. And we should get 165, which we did. So therefore, I have 17 nickels and 8 dimes. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. You're just going to be working on the worksheet.